All right, let's get this started. I'd like to welcome everybody to joining me for the kickoff to the tonnage reporting and license renewal. I am Chris Berg. I'm the feed licensing specialist for the state of Iowa. So I'll be doing this presentation for you today. All lines are muted, and if we do, I'll have some question and answer times throughout this presentation. So if there is a question that you'd prefer to ask in person instead of typing it in, just raise your hand on the icon and I can unmute you, and then we can do the question that way, or else just enter the question into the chat as you're thinking of it, and I can answer it as we get through those sections or at the very end. So we'll start off today with putting a face with a name for our office staff. Can everybody hear me, or is it just... I got a message saying can't hear. All right, it sounds like a bunch of you can. So it might be on their end. Let me go back to sharing. So we'll start off with doing a little face with a name around the office. The bureau chief, which is Alan Keller, he heads up our bureau. Bill Gamble, he's our grant administrator. I'm Chris Berg, I do the feed stuff. Lloyd, he is our fertilizer, and April is our administrative assistant and does pretty much everything in the office. So if you ever need a question answered, she'll help direct you on the way or answer it for you. So that's everybody within our office. We also do have field staff that go around and inspect. So today's objectives, first we're going to talk about the tonnage reporting. Then we'll talk about label renewal. We'll do a portal demo. We'll talk about the website and what's all on there for you guys to find. And we'll finish it off with some food safety information that I've been going around and doing to share with you guys. So to start off, we'll do the I'm not on mute, so I think it's something on your end that is not allowing you to hear. Start off with the tonnage report and inspection fees. The tonnage is the commodity. It is the quantity of the commercial feed and is based upon distribution by the first to sell or distribute in or into the state. So it is the quantity or the count. The inspection fee is the money. So it is the fees collected based upon the distribution of the commercial feed by the first to sell or distribute in or into the state of Iowa. The money is assessed on the quantity or the commercial feed sold or distributed, and it's also commonly called tonnage tax. I got a bunch of definitions that we'll go through, so bear with me as I read through these definitions. Commercial feed is all materials or combination of materials which are distributed or intended for distribution for use in use for feed, for mixing in animals or birds, except for unmixed whole seeds or grains, physically changed unmixed whole grains or of corn, wheat, rye, barley, oats, buckwheat, flaxseed, milo, and other seeds or grains, whole hay, straws, cobs, husk, hulls, stover, and silage when unmixed with other materials, and unprocessed, frozen, or denatured meat and other portions of animal carcasses in their raw or natural state. Physically changed means an ingredient which has been ground or otherwise reduced in particle size, or where the entire seed is physically changed. For an example, ground corn meets the definition. Unmixed ground corn is exempt and is not a commercial feed. Steamed corn is not considered an unmixed meal, as the heat of the steam chemically changes the seed kernel. The steamed corn is not exempt and is a commercial feed. Branded or floor stock feed is feed that the mill formulates and manufactures to keep on hand at all times for any customer who walks in. And then custom mixed feed is a commercial feed made up of a mixture of commercial feeds or feed ingredients mixed at the direction of the animal producer for only that one animal producer, intended for consumption by the same animal producer's animals. The tonnage and inspection fee purpose, the feed manufacturer is not required to pay an inspection fee on the feeds if the inspection fee is paid on the commercial feeds or in feed ingredients, which are used as components of the commercial or customer formulated feeds. There's a little bit of confusion on the difference between toll milling and contract processing. So the toll milling is when company A seeks out company B that has the machinery and equipment of taking that formulation of feed, and then company A also is responsible for procuring that raw materials and delivering it to company B. So company B will charge a fee or a toll for the labor and use of the equipment. So your billing invoice will be the customer listed, the feed components by quantity. So, and then customer A will be the label guarantor. B, all you would have to do is select the toll mill only button and pay the minimum fee. And then company A would be in charge of doing the reporting and inspection fee on any of the ingredients. Contract processing is when company A seeks out company B that can do the entire production of their product. This includes the procurement of raw materials, the equipment, inventory management, storage, packaging, and shipping. So company A may supply them with the formulation, but company B will be paying the inspection fee for the ingredient, and company A will be the end user, and the tons are not reportable. The definition for no sale is if you do not distribute or any product into the state of Iowa for the period for which we are filling out the report. So then you would just check the no sale box and you would just have to pay the minimum fee. Total tons distributed is every ton that you are first distributing needs to be listed in the area. Even if you are going to exempt those tons, they need to be listed in total tons distributed and be able to pull these tons from customer or consider the total tons distributed. So we need to consider that those tons in that to be the bank of a organization, and then all your exempt tons would have to be able to be pulled from it. So you have to use those tons that are in the bank to be able to use the exempt tons. It's just how the math works out in the behind the scenes. So you can't use 200 tons exempt and only put 100 tons in there as your thing, because you would come out with the negative 100 tons. And then you also got to be able to use the same product that you are, let's say you're using corn product, you got to be able to put that in the total tons distributed and in the exempt tons, just so we know that you're not using total tons as corn products and you're exempting out DDGs or something like that. So an exempt customer list is also what we consider the approved purchaser. It consists of only the companies that have applied and been accepted for inclusion on this list. These companies are allowed to receive commercial feed products without their supplier paying the commercial feed inspection fee to the state of Iowa on their behalf, and have agreed to the responsibility for the payment of these fees directly to the state of Iowa on their own Iowa commercial feed distribution reports. The usual reason for this inclusion would be to avoid double taxation on multi-state activity. And then the net effect of this list is that these companies are the only companies to whom exempt distributions in Iowa can be allowed. So that's why when you were doing the report and you can't find some of the old companies that you used to write down, it's probably because they're not actually on the exempt company list. We'll go through what the actual regulations say. This is all part of Iowa Code 198. So an inspection fee to be fixed annually by the secretary at a rate of not more than 16 cents per ton. So we are at 12 cents per ton currently, and shall be paid on a commercial feed distributed in the state by the person who first distributes the commercial feed, and subject to the following. The inspection fee is not required to those on the first distribution if made to a qualified buyer with approval from the secretary shall become responsible for the fee. The fee shall not be paid on a commercial feed if the payment has been made by a previous distributor. The fee shall not be paid on a customer formulated feed if the inspection fee is paid on the commercial feeds in which are used as components of that customer formulated feed. A minimum semi-annual fee shall be $20. A licensed manufacturer shall pay the inspection fee on commercial feed that is fed to livestock owned by the licensee. And in the case of pet food and specialty pet food, which is distributed in the state in packages of 10 pounds or less, each product shall be registered, and an annual registration fee of $50 for each product shall be paid by January 1 of each year in lieu of the per ton rate as provided on this subsection. This inspection fee shall apply to those same products distributed in packages of more than 10 pounds though. So who reports and who pays? So if there's more than one manufacturer or distributor that is involved in the chain, the first one that sells or distributes the commercial feed in the state or to the person in the state for further sale is responsible for the payment of the inspection fees on the feed. The only exemption, like we talked about before, is with that second person. If they are on the exempt or approved purchaser list, then they are responsible for it. This is a flow diagram that I came up with at the beginning of the last one, and it kind of goes through each product for what needs to be paid on it. So it goes from human foods to being the human food byproducts, gives you an example, and then saying that the first person to distribute in or into the state needs to do the reporting and the fees. And then it goes all the way down to complete feeds where it gets a little messy and kind of what ingredients and everything that would need to be reported. So if you have any questions on if something needs to be reported, this is a good tool to use to work through that. So why do we collect the information and how does it get used? It is required by Iowa law, and that's Iowa Code 198 again. It gets posted publicly at least annually, and I'll show you that later on. And we only do post the tons distributed in or into the state, so we don't release any company totals or anything. Universities and researchers do like to use it as kind of seeing what the trends of ingredients and feeds are. And then we use it in the Department of Ag for kind of a high level auditing, from seeing what year to year is and what companies, if there's any change, what would have caused that change. So this is the going forward late fees. We've been kind of pretty nice about it the last 2 times with the new portal. We're just kind of saying that our grace period for that is over. We're not going to be so lenient. So late charges will be applied on February 16th for this round. If you do procrastinate or aren't getting the email reminders, it is still the company's responsibility to be on time. So if you need to set a reminder on your calendar, or something along those lines to help you remember, we surely recommend doing it if you aren't getting our email reminders. And if you do need any assistance, don't hesitate to call us. We will help you out. Don't wait till it's too late to call us. If it's something needs to be fixed, we would rather fix it before it's considered too late. So that's just kind of our announcement there. I'm going to stop sharing so I can read some of the comments and get some of the questions before we move on to the labels. Let me find where this questions start. So there is a section in, I don't remember what it is. The question is, what would you consider pork meat and bone meal? There is a section in the products, I think it's called like animal byproducts or something along those lines. I don't have that list in front of me, but there is a section that would fit pork meat and bone meal. So the next question is referring to the grain bank corn. Grain bank corn is exempt from needing to be reported on tonnage. So if you're using it in the custom mixes, then you don't have to worry about reporting any of that grain bank corn because you're using the customer's own product or their own corn. Next question, if you are not selling it, but the product is given for free to company A for their use, is it a toll mill? So I'm guessing this is kind of more on the research side of it. I would say if you're not paying for it, or if they're not paying for it and it's used for research, I wouldn't be too concerned for the fee. So it would still be considered a toll mill, just because you are required to have a tonnage report filled out. So you would be just at the minimum fee. And one other note on that is I don't know if the toll mill button is working 100% correctly yet by itself. So if you do toll mill only, you might have to click the no sale to get the page to move forward, because that's what was happening last time, is it wasn't liking being alone for some reason. I believe this question is again about grain bank corn. And I will show you, there's a question about that flow chart being available. I'll show you at the end where that is on our website, so you guys can all go print it off if you want it. This webinar will be recorded. I will have to look into seeing if we can post the slides. If not, everything will be on the recording. So this next question is, so if you're a broker that co-products from ethanol plants, the plant pays and reports the tonnage. The broker doesn't need to, correct. You could go about this two ways. You could say you bought it from an exempt company just so it would equal out. So you would put your total tons distributed of that ethanol byproduct in there, and then you would say you got it from X ethanol company, and you can exempt out from the on the bottom, and I'll show you that on our portal. We send this question is, when do you send email reminders? The email reminders, the first one when it opens up should be around December 1st, and then we do it 1 month prior, and then it's you'll get one, I think, around beginning of February. I think there's 2 or 3 that come out in February as a do this before you're late, and then it kind of goes on to, there'll be one that's saying, hey, you're now in the late time period, and then the last one will be, your license is now suspended, and that'll be like in August or something. So it gives you time before your license gets suspended. So this question, what if your product is sold to a customer outside of Iowa? We only want the tons that you are selling in the state of Iowa. So if you can break it out in between what state it goes to, we only are concerned about what is being sold in Iowa. We don't need you to be double taxed from us and on another state if they do it how we do it. So that's our main concern. If you have more onto that question, you can always give me a call or email, and we can talk about it. If my company sells to a customer, do I need to report these tons sold to my customer, and my customer needs to report the tons sold into the state? So we would only want the tons reported in a sense first. So if you're the first to distribute, you would report it to us. The customer can put it in there, and then they can exempt it out so they aren't getting taxed on it. So that product isn't getting taxed twice, if that makes sense. And I can kind of explain that when we get into the portal and show you where I'm talking about that. So this question, what if the customer wants to pay their own fees to Iowa but are not on the inclusion list? Can we still exempt them? Into the portal, no, just because we only set up that list of the included people on the exempt list. So the best way I would say is, if they're wanting to, and you're the first distributor, I would either persuade them to get onto that list, or we can discuss how we can do that too. I think there's another option we can do of having you only do the report that part, and then make sure the customer reports that part that they're selling or they want to pay the fee on. As long as we're only getting the report or the fees on it once, we don't want it by everybody. So that's the main reason. So I will keep moving forward, and then I'll try to remember where our questions were left off. All right, so now we'll talk about the label renewal. So why is registration so important for the state? Well, it safeguards the health of the animals and the humans by being able to check on what's on those labels. It also is consumer protection, and then it provides a level of playing field for the orderly commerce for the industry. So it kind of puts everybody on the same playing field. Some not definitions. Some of the regulations associated with labeling. There is a bunch of rules on it too, but I didn't put that in this slide. In the case of commercial feed, except in a customer formulated feed, it shall be accompanied by a label bearing the following information: the net weight, the product name and the brand, if any, under which the commercial feed is distributed, the guaranteed analysis, which in such terms as the secretary by rule determines is required to advise the user of the composition of the feed or the support claims made in the labeling. In all cases, the substances or elements must be determinable by the laboratory methods, such as the methods published by the Association of Official Analytical Chemists. An ingredient statement containing the common or usual name of each ingredient used in the manufacturing of the commercial feed. However, the secretary by rule may permit the use of a collective term or a group of ingredients which perform a similar function, or the secretary may exempt such commercial feeds or any group of them from which the requirement, if the secretary finds the statement is not required in the interest of the consumer. The name and the principal mailing address of the manufacturer or the person responsible for the distributing the commercial feed, adequate directions for use for all commercial feeds containing drugs and for such other feeds as the secretary may require by rule as necessary for the safe and effective use. Such precautionary statements as the state secretary by rule determines are necessary for the safe and effective use of the commercial feed. The second part of the labeling is in case of the customer formula feed, it shall be accompanied by a label, invoice, delivery slip, or other shipping document bearing the following information: the name and address of the manufacturer, the name and address of the purchaser, the date of the delivery, the product name and the brand name, if any, the net weight of each commercial feed used in the mixture, and the net weight of each other ingredient used. Adequate directions for use for all customer formula feeds containing drugs and for such other feeds as the secretary may require by rule as necessary for their safe and effective use. Such precautionary statements as the secretary by rule determines are necessary for the safe and effective use of the customer formula feeds. And if any drug containing product is used, information relating to the purpose of the medication in the form of a claim statement, plus the established name of each active drug ingredient and the level of each drug used in the final mixture. I think I'm finally done reading regulations for now. So, what labels get registered? In Iowa, we only require small package pet food labels, so anything that is in 10 pounds or less are required for registration. So any commercial feed prepared or distributed for consumption by a pet. We also classify a specialty pet in there, so any small package specialty pet foods in packages of 10 pounds or less So this can be for any domestic animal that are normally maintained in a cage or a tank, such as gerbils, hamsters, rabbits that are not raised for fur or food, birds, fish, snakes, turtles, all that kind of fun stuff. Large package can be uploaded onto our portal without a fee, so we can also talk about that when we're in the portal. So what do I look for when I'm looking at labels and approving labels? The first thing is the product name or the brand name. So not every product has a brand name, but each product must have some sort of unique identifier to distinguish it from others on the market. Also, when we're talking about adding ingredients in the name, we have some definitions that need to be laid out there. So if it's called, this could be, I'm just using beef as an example. It can be chicken or anything else, but beef dog food, it has to be at least 95% beef. Beef recipe dog food, it has to be at least 25% beef. And dog food with beef must be at least 5% beef. The next thing I look for is that it states what species the food is for. And this will be on the main panel and the display panel. It must be in words. Pictures are insufficient, and they can be misleading sometimes. So it has to be in words saying dog, cat, along those lines. So it can be beef dog food or salmon treats for cats. Just something to say what species it is for. The next thing is the nutritional adequacy statement. So this statement indicates the food is complete and balanced for a particular life stage or state. So it could be growth, production, adult maintenance, or a combination of. And if it's identified as a snack or a treat or a supplement, they're exempt from needing that nutritional adequacy statement. The guaranteed analysis, this is the one I get a lot of questions on when people are calling. It is the list of percentages for each nutrient in the food. So the 4, and it has to be in the order, is the minimum percentage of crude protein, the minimum percentage of crude fat, the maximum percentage of crude fiber, and the maximum percentage of moisture. And this is what if we come get a sample of it and we send it to the lab, it has to be able to meet those requirements that you are guaranteeing on the label. After you get those 4 done, you can also add in other nutrients that may support claims on the label. So it could be calcium or vitamin E or anything else. And I put a good example of a guaranteed analysis that has those 2 on there. So the next part we're going to talk about is the ingredient statements. So ingredients must be listed in descending order of predominance by weight on the as formulated basis. Ingredient lists cannot include any reference to the quality or the grade, and the ingredients must be generally recognized as safe or approved food additive, approved color additive, or the common or usual ingredients, or has an AFCO definition or is approved through there. Feeding directions. So all pet foods labeled for complete or balanced must include some type of feeding direction at a minimum state. It needs to have what the feed amount is and the how much, so what you can feed that animal for that weight of the animal. So if we're talking about a puppy food, you can feed 3.5 cups of food per 30 pounds of puppy. And then that's the daily, so you can break it up if you want. Just know the frequency that you're saying that, so you're not feeding 3.5 cups twice a day, and really overfeeding that animal. It is optional for treats if they're not a complete and balanced, but most treats are fed as treats anyways. Quantity statement. This is also to be displayed on that front panel, and it should be in terms both in English and metric units. It can be in liquid measure or by count also. So then the label guarantor, it needs to be the firm's name or address, which mail can be delivered to, and it may require a qualifying phrase such as manufactured by, manufactured for, or distributed by. All right, we'll jump back out and see if there's any questions so far. Oh, thanks for the marker in there. Okay. Would wild bird feed be considered a pet food? If it is considered for wild birds, I would not consider it for pets. If you're also wanting it to be fed to your finches or anything else inside, then or your cockatoos or any other bird that would be inside, then it would be. But if you're labeling it for wild bird consumption, then it would not be considered for the pet food. That can be the same for deer and anything else too. The wild animals we do not consider as pets. If you manufacture an animal feed additive and or ingredient with the FDA registration, would FDA registration be required as well? Are you talking about for our registration process, or if you register with us, would it also need to be registered with FDA? We are separate from it, so if you register with us, it doesn't exempt you from being registered with the FDA. And if you want to add more documents in to be saved with us, you're more than welcome to. And we can use it that way. If you have more questions on that, just give me an email or call later, and we can discuss it. And yes, we at Iowa do follow the AFCO labeling guidelines for pet food. So that's why if we also do the ingredients that way too, if they are AFCO or FDA approved, we approve them. So looks like questions have stopped. So I will move forward with the next step, which is the portal. So why did we switch to using this portal? Well, it consolidated multiple different databases into one. When I first started here, we had 5 different databases. 2 of them, I believe, were for feed, and the rest were for fertilizer. So we were able to combine all that and put it into one database for our ease of use. And it's also ease for information submitting, so it's real time. You don't have to wait for the mail to get it here. And you can also do online payments, so nothing else gets lost in the mail. It also gives you the ability to store small package pet food labels. Before, we were just using a filing cabinet, and there was no real good way to track it, except for it was in an Excel form, I believe. Then we're also able to process the information faster. For pet food approval labels, we're normally within 24 hours of it being submitted, depending on weekends and holidays. and license approvals were normally within 24 hours as well. So you're able to get that information back and able to use it sooner than being able to process in the mail. The companies are able to print the licenses once approved from the portal, so we don't have to send back and forth, and we're, again, not waiting for mail. It reduces our paper usage. It also helps keep your guys' tonnage tax down and fees down because of the lower labor cost on our end, so we don't have to hire another person to get all these jobs done. And then it also creates less human error on our end. So if something does get entered wrong, it'd be you guys is entering it, and so we're not liable. I might have to log in to do this portal. So yeah, this is what the login page is. I'm going to unshare and I'll log in the back way so I can show you what it is on my end or on your guys' end. All right. So once you log into the portal, this is what you'll end up seeing. And I'll just kind of go through these tiles, and we'll might have some examples as we go through here. So this view dashboard is kind of the safe saving spot of everything that happens in the portal. So if you are starting something and you need to log out for something, or it's the end of the day and you want to finish it tomorrow, it automatically will get saved in here. So you can see I have a lot of stuff I've started throughout doing these demos that I've never actually finished or cleaned up. So it just leaves it in here for as long as until it gets deleted by us or submitted by you guys. We talked about the licensing print page. So you would just go to all licenses over here, and then you would go to approved, and then you can see that it pops up some licenses that you can be able to print off. So if I hit here, it'll give you that print page to be able to print from your guys' office, so you don't have to wait for it to be in the mail. If it's in any other category, so it could be suspended, that normally means that a tonnage report hasn't been submitted on time. If it is in there and you aren't required to do your tonnage reports, let us know, because it could be still a data migration issue that's still hanging out. So don't be afraid to let us know on those kind of issues. So, and it could be in any of these categories. Labels, if it's in the approved, you'll have the product name here. If you want to cancel that label, let's say you're done using that product, you can cancel it there. If you, let's say you updated your graphics on your label, you can come in, edit your label at any time. You can delete your old one, upload a new one, and then it'll just go to me and I can approve it. So if it qualifies. So that's in there. We did add a filter, so some companies have multiple different companies underneath them. So you're able to select company or type if you do fertilizer also. So there is that option. And then this is if you ever, we've uploaded 10 years of data. So you could see the last 10 years of your tonnage reports if you have them that long, and see what you've done in the past. So this is all the view dashboard information. If you ever need a new license, you'll just go to that new or renew license option. You'll select here. We'll select feed license. And if you want to add a facility to this company, you would just select that. If you need a new company, just call or email us. We can start a company for you, get it underneath your contact, and then you can do the rest of your license information after that. So if you need another company option, just let us know. That is one thing that you're unable to do from your guys' end, is to start a new company. But you can add as many facilities as you want. So new or renew labels, it is that time of year. We'll apply for a new label. I'll show you what it looks like. You'll just go through, hit small package pet feed, and then you'll just hit new label or add a label. And all you got to do is enter the product name, the product weights, and drop in a picture or a file of that document or that label, and then hit, if it's a small package, yes or no. And then if it's yes, you don't have to worry about here. If it's no, then yeah, you'll have to hit select yes on large package. So you can have up to 150 labels in one of these applications, and it'll stop you at 150. The 150 is just because if you have any more than that, the system will not be able to submit it. So we kind of gave it that number to be able to have everybody able to successfully submit their labels. Renewing labels, you'll just select that. We'll do a small package feed again. I might not have one. Earlier, I might have to go through my dashboard. But it'll just have a list so you can check off which ones are still active. It'll give you the option to cancel if they're still not available. I'm trying to think of what else it does. And if you need to edit, you can also edit it while you're in there renewing your labels. I don't know why it's not allowing me. But if you have any questions as you get to this part, just give me a call or email and I can help you through it. Tonnage reports. You just go and select the company, the tonnage, the period, and then it, like this. If it gives you this error, that normally means that you have started it. So like I have this one here, I just go back in and I open it up here. So this is what you'll see on your end. This is the no sale and the toll mill only. Like I said earlier, if that toll mill only is selected, you may need to select the no sale just to accompany it. Total tons distributed. It gives you these options. That meat and bone question, that would be considered animal products that are not fats and oils. But you could just select one of your options here. You put in your tons, you add that item. For exempt, this is where it has that predetermined companies in there. So if I wanted to select Hubbard, it automatically brings up that license. Then you're able to put molasses, since I did that on the first one, and then add that item. So if this one is, I haven't tested in a while, but if you, let's say you bought from some other company and they're paying the taxes for you, you would do this option. This is saying that you're the second one to distribute and the first person is paying for it. So I'll just do molasses again, and I'll do 4 again. So up here, you'll see it kind of does the calculation for you. Total tons, 9 exempt. So we're 4. And so we're total, or net tons is 1. And then it does the calculation. So for some reason, and I'll have to look into this on why it is showing me a late fee. And if it does and you guys don't think you're late, just give us a call and we can try to figure out why there's a penalty on it. I'll try to get that resolved before we have it opened up for you guys. Notice I have 2 facilities under this. So this is the one we were just working at. This is the second one. If you break up your information by facilities, enter it in the per facility. If you do everything under one and you don't want to break it up, you still have to hit no sale for this one, just to be able to move forward, because something does have to be entered on them. So then you just hit save and next. And then you'll see a pay and submit button down here. We got the ACH payment option, credit card payment option, and then a check payment option. If you select check, you will see that the address does pop up for where to send that check to. So don't speed through it too fast if you need that address. If you do, just let us know and we can get you that address also. So if you just hit submit, it'll just say that your application has been submitted. So then on this one, we got the company information tab. So if you ever have a change of address or mailing address, this is one place that you're able to come and edit it. The head company, you're able to edit both the physical address and the mailing address. On the facilities, you're only able to edit the mailing address. So if you need to change your physical address, just send us an email and we can change that pretty quick for you, and we'll have a pretty good turnaround time for you. So that is on that company page. Frequently asked questions. This just has some more documents if you need step-by-step directions or another tutorial or anything else. They're in there. Manage users is another pretty important one. Let's say you have somebody that's starting with the company and you want to add them. You can just select, okay, I want to add that company. I'm going to add April. Then enter their email address. And then you just select active. So the minute I hit save on there, she's already in our system, so that's why it'll give me a duplicate. But the minute you hit save, it will add them and send them an email to set up a password. So that's how you do that. If, let's say, they were in the company and they left and you don't want them to have access to the portal when they leave, you just go in, select active, and make sure that's unchecked, and it will remove their portal access so they cannot log in. So that's another important one too if you're wanting to end somebody's ability to enter. So that is everything on the portal. that I can think of. I will stop sharing and answer any questions that may come up. So the question is, are you saying that we are required to provide every label for your commercial feeds into the portal, or just small animal pet foods? You are only required to do small animal pet food or small pet food packages. Even if they're over 10 pounds, you're not required to upload them. So we are only requiring small animal, small package pet food labels to be uploaded. Everything else is just a bonus if you guys want to. The next question, being that it is a new system, should we enter all labels or just new labels? So if you have not entered a new label yet, you'll want to. We do not have any of our filing since it was already over that year. So the old filing cabinets are no longer there. So everything will need to be entered as new if they haven't already been. So I know initially it can be a lot of work, but then moving forward, when you're renewing, all it is a check of a box to renew that label unless you're editing it for some reason. So yes, you will need to put all labels in as new into the system if you have not done already. If you have more than 150 labels, you can add multiple applications. So it'll stop you there. You'll just have to break it up. Okay, I did 150 there, so then I'll start on another application and do another 150 until you're done with them. So I know some companies can have up to 1,000 labels. So yeah, it might take a few applications. And when I'm talking applications, that's each 150 would be one application. So, and you can open as many as you want of those. If the same pet food is available in packages under 10 pounds and over 10 pounds, do we still pay the $50? Or is it only for the pet foods exclusively in 10 pounds or less packages? So if you're in that scenario where you have a package that is 10 pounds or under and 10 pounds or over, you would be required to pay the $50 fee and register that product. And then you're also liable for the tonnage associated with those packages that are 10 pounds or over. So you'll do double duty on those, being both the 10 pounds over and 10 pounds under. So if you have any questions, just let me know. So do we need to submit labels for every size pet food treat, for instance, small, medium, large, or just as a single label for the specific treat and type of flavor? So we only require one label. We consider them products as the recipe. So if you have a small, medium, large, and the same recipe or the same formula, then it would just be considered one. You can add multiple label attachments and sizes of packages in that one label. As I can go back and show you real quick where you can do that. Here, let me go back real quick and show you before I forget. So if you go to that new or renew labels, you can add as many attachments or upload as many files as you want. And you can also make it look similar to this. So you have a 6.5 pound package, a 4.3 pound package, and a 24 pound package. So I know 2 of those are not small package, but just as a example, that's what it would look like. Or you can have a 1 count, 2 count, 3 count, 4 count kind of a deal too. So however you have your packages divided up, that is how it'll look. So we will send out, the question is when will the system be open for label renewals and what is the deadline for submission? It opens up, I believe, December 1st. There should be an email that goes out that allows you to renew. I want to say, I'm trying to think of what the actual date for label renewal is. I want to say it's early February is the due date. I think it's like maybe 45 days, so February 15th or so would be there. And we only do require pet food labels. You are more than welcome to enter other labels if you want, but we only require pet food labels. Back on there. All right. So next we'll talk briefly about over the last 3 or 4 months, I've been doing a lot of food safety consults with some of the smaller mills and just kind of either using it for to get a starting point of where they want to head on their food safety option, and then B, it also uses it as a checklist for those companies that maybe already have it and just want to make sure they have everything in place. So we've had a wide variety of levels of completion on their food safety consults. What's involved when I go out and do these? So I provide a well, the companies that I visited, it would have been a binder, but now it's a spiral bound book that has a list of what should be included in a food safety plan. It has 2 different FDA guidances material in there, a copy of the 507 regulations, just as a reference also. I also provide a flash drive for electronic versions of all that, and then I do provide some generic documents that companies can change and make it their own to help them develop their food safety program. When I'm in these facilities, I do average about an hour to go through the information. It all depends on how much activity there is. So if there's a lot of questions, we can go a couple hours. If there's no questions, I can get it done in 15 minutes. So it all depends on what kind of feedback we're getting and how much good discussion we're getting to help you out. I'm also willing to go into facilities if you want a hands-on opinion on, okay, well, what's my opinion at this step? What's the hazards? Those kind of questions. I can give you that kind of outsider opinion, that those fresh set of eyes to kind of show you that. The bonus part is I'm not an inspector. So if I do see something and I do think that it needs to change or something along those lines, we'll just have a discussion about it. I'm not going to write you up. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. I don't even communicate with our inspectors on where I'm going, when I'm going, anything like that. So you don't have to worry about, oh, you're coming in 2 weeks, now an inspector is going to come in a month or something like that. So there's no fear. We just want to help you either make sure you guys are on track or help you get on track with the 507 requirements. So that's kind of what it is. If you do want to have me come out and help visit, just reach out via email or on phone, and I can help set that up. The other thing is I have done a couple virtual ones with a couple outside of the state companies, and I am welcome or willing to help you with that. I just kind of put all this in the mail for you, and I try to get it plenty of time so you have it to read through as we're talking about it. So we can do that too if there's any out-of-state companies that are interested in this help. We can do that. Next, I'll just skip over here before I hit questions again. But we've been updating our iowaagriculture.gov website for the commercial feed part of it. And I just wanted to show you guys where that information is. A lot of the flow chart that people were wanting is on here. So we will show you that information real hopefully. There it goes. So this is the web page. If you go to within a department, you'll select commercial feed and fertilizer, and then commercial feed. So we've changed the layout of this. So if you have any questions on labeling, here's some guidance material. There'll be some more added, hopefully by the end of the week. Tonnage information, so the flow chart that we talked about is right there. Frequently asked questions, products, exempt list, application to be an exempt, all that kind of stuff, licensee search, which is also on the portal, and I can show that to you real quick because I forgot it. So if you go up on the search licensee and you want to look for a feed licensee, and let's say you could either search by company, or if you want to see what's in that county, you just search it. It won't give your license information, but it will show, okay, this is their address and the county they're in. So this information is out there as well. So that's out there. This is also where the recordings for webinars are. This webinar that we're talking on right now will also be uploaded right into this section. We talked about displaying the feed tonnage distributions. So this is where all that data is stored for anybody that wants to look at it. Also, any sample results are also up here. So, and then some older information. So, we also have the 507 page, so that has a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, the food safety plan checklist, a link to kind of look up PCQI trainings. This document is a new document that kind of breaks up the 507 language. It gives you easier to read chunks to see if you're qualified throughout the whole thing. So it also gives a good point if you're having a turnover and you want the next person to know where everything is. It gives you that spot to place, okay, this document is in this area. So it is a helpful guide. These are the two guidances that I just talked about briefly, and then also the copy of the 507. Some other brief stuff that's on here, the VFD information. We have a lot of VFD related facts on here for you guys, and then the drug residue. So that's associated with the VFDs, but if you know any producers of the animals that need record sheets or record books, we do have some printouts available, and if you want it in a book form, just contact us and we can get some out to the mail for you. So that's our website. Everything else is kind of fertilizer or ag lime or egg associated in there. So I lost my screen. All right. So also next, if you guys ever do have any topics or anything that you want to hear more about related to feed, just let us know. We can find inspectors or expert topic experts or anything that would help us help you guys. So if there is anything that you want to know more information about for the following webinars, just let me know. We can get those added. Here's some topic ideas that we had, being preventative controls or VFDs or the inspection process. So just don't be afraid to let me know. We can incorporate any of that information in here for you guys. Here's my contact information. So if you guys need anything, don't hesitate to call us or call me, and we can get you answers. It may take a little bit, but depending on the question, but we will get an answer to whatever your question is. So before we get too far into questions, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving next week and safe travels if you guys are going anywhere. So we will go back and see if there's any more questions. So this question, just to confirm, if it is a feed ingredient, you do not need a feed label. No, we do not require them for feed ingredients. Just if they're intended for pets as consumption, then yes. But so if it's a single ingredient pet treat or something like that, then we would. But if it is just an ingredient to be mixed into feed for anything, we do not require them, but you are welcome to store them on there. How much does the food safety consult cost? We are doing it free of charge. We just want to get that information out to you guys to help you guys. So no charge on it. You guys, all we ask is for an hour or two of your time to be able to help get you situated, or if you need further help, we can always accommodate whatever you guys need. So there is no charge on it. There is charges on the PCQI trainings, but for me coming out and helping you guys get a third-party opinion or anything like that, no charge at all. The question is, are you going to get into the fertilizer, feed, or ag stuff more? The fertilizer, we do have another webinar coming up at 2 o'clock this afternoon. That'll cover the feed or the fertilizer tonnage report information. If you need any more information on the other stuff, just let me know and we can get you that information. So if there's not any more questions, and it will be the same link at 2 o'clock, correct? So that is just my personal, well, not personal, my work team's link to meetings. So, all right, everybody have a good, happy Thanksgiving, and look forward to any questions that come up along the way during this next tonnage and feed label season. So have a good day. Thank you.